Hello and welcome to the session with a very long title, From Report to Interactive Data Applications with Power BI. And it's exactly about that. I'm happy to be here, happy to have you all here. If there's any questions during this session, please use the comment section in StreamYard, and I will try to take an eye on that. Keep an eye on your comments. I think there's a little bit of delay, so but this should work out. To keep this as interactive as possible, not only the application or the reports, but also this session here. Yeah, my name is Markus Ehrenmüller-Jensen, and I want to directly start into the session, which is a demo-only session. So if I click here, I cannot, my slide is not reacting here. So this is a demo-only session. So I will leave the slide. I will only return for my question slide where you see all the contacts. I will also be available for until top of the hour after this session to answer your questions in the Q&A session section, where Karin already put a link into the comment section. So with that said, jump over to, not the slides, I want to leave the slides, jump over to my Power BI service. So in Power BI service, and I think we can make this even better. So we have the full screen here for a data application. So the goal here is to make this look and feel like an application, not really a report, and have a lot of interactive features. So the first part is I will show you, it will demonstrate this data application I developed here. And afterwards, I will show you the details about that. I will not be able to build everything here. It takes way longer than 50 minutes to exactly replicate everything here, but I can show you some parts of that and yeah, use your questions to direct me to the right things you're mostly important interested in. So what we have here, we have this burger menu here. There's obviously some filter thing and some other icons. And what I implemented here is this question mark. So if I click on the question mark here, it will tell me what of kind of functionality is here. So the first one here on the very, let's start here on the very right. This would be to ask your questions about the data. So this starts Q&A, the Q&A feature. Never heard about that. I can demonstrate that. You can then type in your questions and Power BI will know what you are interested about and will show this as a report, as a visual. Then where to get more information? In this case, I put in my my speaker slides, so who I am. But usually this would be like jump to an intranet page where there's a community, where's documentation of about the reports, so people find out things. The question mark itself, this is what we currently see. This quick documentation here. The home button will return to the first slide or the first page of the report, and then we have this navigation buttons where we can jump to the previous or next page, or directly jump to one of the pages I prepared here, page selection. And then there's always the change of filters, right? We're talking about reports, and reports, usually I want to change filters there. So let's demonstrate first this Q&A feature. So Q&A, if I click here, the Q&A visual is opened, and I think I can zoom in a little bit here to make this more, let's click the interactive one here. So I can ask a question, and Power BI is also preparing questions for me. So we don't have to do anything here. Power BI is smart enough to know about the data model behind the report, and I could select one of those questions or just type in my own question. I can ask for sales amount. And as long as get this green lined underneath, Power BI knows what I'm talking about. And if I click enter, I should be able to see, not the sales, what's happening here? Sales amount. It's very interesting. Yeah, that's what I expected. So we see this 80 million down there because this is this whole sales over all the years for all my product categories. It's the 80 million in AdventureWorks. I'm using AdventureWorks here. And of course, this is might be nice, but we can also ask for by category. So it will then find out, oh, I'm talking about the English product category. I have a typo in here, category. I'm talking about English product category, and it will automatically change the view. Something is wrong here, huh? Today, what's happening? By category. Yeah, so Now everything is split up by my product categories. It's automatically turned into a bar chart because Power BI is smart enough to know this is categorical data, so it makes sense to have it here. And I can also put filters. So if I see now 66 million, but I can also ask, please show me this only for 2013. So I can apply filters here. So the bars didn't really change, but the axis changed because in 2013, of course, we have less sales than for all the years, and we can see here now it's not 66 million, but it's only 26 million. So the filter was applied here as well. So this is things you can do with this Q&A visual. This is very easy to start because this is just a visual, and then we link from this button here. The info page, as I mentioned, this is just a question thing. If you have questions, you can contact me here. Home would be jumping back here, or I can just navigate to the first page here I prepared here. It's about the products. So what we see here, I don't know. Let's click the question mark here, and then we get a guide what we're seeing here. So on the header lines here, we have one column per measure. I pre-selected the sales amount, the total product cost, margin percentage. This was my choice as the author of this application or report. Then we have the totals in the first row, and then we have different rows per category. And there's also interactivity built into this report, so I can click on one of the cells if I'm interested, see more and learn more about this number. So this means now we see all the numbers here, like we see what is the sales amount, the total would be 3.2 million for all of my products. And the goal would be 2 million, so I have a deviation of a plus of 70%, which is good. The margin is not so good, obviously, so we are in the orange or orange or yellow area here. But I can click, for example, on the bikes for the total product cost. If I do this, I'm jumping over to another page, which shows me the total product cost, filters the left portion onto my categories, which means the bikes, and I see all the subcategories. This is also fully interactive, as we can see here with the question mark here. I see what kind of measure is selected. I can expand and call up things by pressing on the minus. I can call up things. I can expand things pressing on the plus, and I can hover over with the mouse cursor to get another version of details. Let me see here. So if I move my mouse cursor for the bikes, for example, it then show me the details for this. So currently I see the 76 million would be the total product cost, but this hover help, so if I zoom in here, is again repeating it's about the bikes. This is because I moved the bikes over this cell, and this is for bikes. And then we see the sales amount, and also we see things split, the sales amount split by the different subcategories. So something we can have here. And also, can change filters and expand the color of things as I'm here in the territory region. If I move the mouse cursor over here, this is not showing a bar chart, but this is showing a map where I see, this is my Europe section. We have sales in France, Germany, and United Kingdom, and this is what's highlighted on this map. So I can also get a clue where those countries reside if I'm not sure about that. There's also, if I jump back here to the main page and filter directly to the territory, this would be a distinguish or a selection of, again, the same measures, but now it's distinguished by category: North America, Europe, and clothings. And there is also something which turns the selection around. So this is the view we already have seen, that there's one measure selected, and this measure is then shown details for this measure for the different categories and for the different territory groups over here. And which is also might be of interest is this scenario thing. So this is also because an application can also like have input things, right? And reacting to inputs. And there's this scenario feature, the what if feature in Power BI, which are used for this. So I have 2 inputs here. I can change the elasticity. I can change the discount. There's some best discount shown here. There's a curve there. And there's different measures I see here. So what is this page about? This is about price elasticity. This is a model from economics stating that if we lower the prices, then the demand will increase. So the quantity we sell will increase because if something cheaper, it's more affordable, and the more people will buy the products and services. And there's no clear factor which tells me when I lower the prices by 10%, how much the quantity will increase. And this is explained by the elasticity. So elasticity of 1 means if I lower the prices by 10%, the quantity will increase by 10%. If the elasticity is 2, it would mean if I lower the prices by 10%, the quantity will increase by 20%. And what's the elasticity? Usually this is given for a certain market, for a certain product. So you have to do your research to find out how elastic the prices for the goods you're selling are. And of course, this has limitations. So even if like a liter of milk only costs like 1 cent, you will not start drinking 100 liters of milk a day. There's limitations there. And there's also the other argument. So for example, if a high-priced luxury good, like think of a really high-priced sports car, if they would lower their prices, maybe they will not sell more of those sports cars. Maybe they sell less because then they lose the prestige of being a high expensive sports car. So there's limitations to that. But for this, I just want to show you how I implemented this. So currently this discount is 20% and elasticity is 2. So that means the current sales amount will be 66 million. If I have a discount of 20%, that means that the unit price was now changed down to 700, and the order quantity is 105. So if I now lower the prices by increasing the discount, so let's say we are lowering it to 30%, you will see that the unit price will go down, of course, and the order quantity will increase. So this is what we expect here. So 70, this lowers down, and this increased from 100 to 120,000. The elasticity, if I change this to 1, for example, then the expectation is that the unit price does not change, but the quantity changes. The quantity will go down because now the price elasticity is not at as much, so the order quantity will go down. And with combinations of this, we can calculate with the new price and the new quantity what would be the new sales amount. And we can calculate would be this better or worse. Because if the prices go down, of course, our sales amount will go down unless the quantity increases as much that it has a counter effect on that. So this is what we see here. We can even point this out on a chart like this. So let's go back to the elasticity of 2. So there's a sweet spot somewhere. Because if I lower the prices, of course, the sales amount will go down and quantity will go up. But this is not a direct, not directly, but like depending on the elasticity, right? And so there's a sweet spot here, and we can like move the mouse cursor around to find the sweet spot. The sweet spot would be at 8.2 million of increased sales amount. So this would currently we only have 7.9 because the discount is 30%. So we overachieve the discount. It would be better to lower the discount because the sweet spot is at 25. With this model, it would be 25. And if I do this, so if I change this to 25, I think I can do it also with the mouse cursor here, then we should see that if we exactly reach to the 8.2, which is the sweet spot, which is exactly there. So this is also how you can put interactivity in your data model to make scenarios happen or other things happen in your model. So this is not write back. We're not really writing back something. We're just changing, in this case, 2 slicers, 2 values, 2 selections, and the DAX measures involved, they're reacting to that. Any questions up to this point before we take a look on how this is really implemented? And hello, Mario. Yeah, see your eyes, hearts in your eyes. Yeah, nice to see you too. Yeah, so let's jump to Power BI Desktop. So everything I implemented here is done in Power BI Desktop. This was not implemented with any programming languages, but this is in Power BI Desktop. And as you can see, there's just one start page and there's a lot of other pages, and all those pages have this I symbol crossed out because it means it's hidden. Those pages are not directly selectable by the user, but the user selects something in over those action buttons. Let's take a look on these action buttons. So the action buttons means that there is a button available. So we can have the under, where is it? Under insert, I think. Insert, yes. Let's increase this here. We have these buttons, and then you can change, include different buttons. The first ones all have shapes. So I use the button without the shape because this question bubble or the question mark and so on, this is coming from a background picture. So and to use the background picture, maybe I just show first this one. So if we go to the visualization, down there, we see that there is a page, the canvas background, and there's a Hintergrund and Start. So there's a picture. Not me, but my wife. My wife is a graphic designer, so she did this picture. She was was inspired by the logo of AdventureWorks and put this as a background picture. Found something in the interwebs. I'm not a particular fan of having like colorful applications here. It's just to show you what you can do like from a feature perspective. So this picture there. There's also a wallpaper. The wallpaper would also go throughout. So if we increase things here, so the wallpaper would also include this section down there. That's what I usually do not want to have here, because that means that this, depending on the screen resolution, or if you show format options and fields and so on, then this picture will be squeezed, and so that the width and the height would be changed, and also then the look and the feel and the position of those background items will also change. So make sure, if you want to have something as a background for your buttons, make sure to use the canvas background and not the wallpaper. I think in the German translation it's even more hard, because it's both sound really, really similar. So wallpaper is the full spectrum here. We want to go for the background picture. So there's a button, and the button itself doesn't have any text, doesn't have any picture. I just put it there. So if I would move this around, you see now the button is there. There's no background. There's no background picture there. So let's make sure to move it back exactly there, and to make sure that this frame around the speech bubble doing exactly what the user would expect, namely to, can I move it up again? Hardly. To ask for to pop up the Q&A feature. This is done in the action section. So in the action section, I can have actions for my buttons. In this case, I chose the Q&A. In Power BI Desktop, be aware, if you want to test this, if you click on something in Power BI Desktop, you just select the item. It's not really doing the action. For triggering the action, you have to press the Control key on your keyboard and then click. So Control click here to follow link means if I now do this, also the Q&A feature is started here, and I can do the same thing we just have demonstrated in the Power BI service. So same thing here. So you can also test this here. Only remember, if there's a button, Control click and not just select things. For the question mark, this is also a button, and the action here is just to jump over, it's page navigation, jump over to the Start Help page. So the help thing, so the overlay we got, like with the arrows and the text, was not really an overlay. It was just a hard copy, a screenshot of the first page, and then I added text in there. So just jumping over to another page to show you this overlay. And these are created by taking the background picture. So I made a screenshot of my report, in this case, not really a report, just the background thing here, and opened this up in PowerPoint, and in PowerPoint then added those arrows and those texts. That's the easiest way for me to digest and change pictures. Then the other one, the home button, is also a page navigation. So this page navigation means I'm jumping back to the start page. So wherever I am with the home, I'm coming back to the start page. These are two different buttons, left and right, and they are a little bit more work to do, because you have to set in the position where I am right now. Right now, I'm in the start page. So the right navigation means I wanted to start to jump to the product page, and the left one would be the scenario. If we come to the product page, I also have this left and right, but make sure the right here means not jumping to the product, but further to the territory, and the left would be to return to the start page. So this is more, if you copy and paste those things, keep in mind what things you're doing here. For the, let's keep for the start here. For this burger menu, this is also an action item, and this action item is making use of bookmarks. So bookmarks are your friends to freeze in certain states of your reports. That means it can contain the total local feel of the report. That means it contains also the filters, what's hidden and shown, and what else, and the page. So three things are part of the bookmark. If you take a look on the bookmarks here, on the view, we find the bookmark section here. You can see in my whole report, I have a lot of bookmarks. So for the start, I have 3 bookmarks. The start, which is what we currently see. If I click on Start Filter, we see this is when the filter pops up. I did not demonstrate this in the demo. And the Start menu we have seen, this was when I just turn on the burger menu and select something. So this is items, the menu and the filter are items on the report. They're just hidden throughout the selection here. So in the selection we can see here, if I click on the filter, it means that the menu is hidden, the header is shown, and the filter is also shown. On the start, it's hiding the filter, only showing the header, and on the menu it shows the header and the menu, but not the filter. And you can turn this on and off by having those like also I could like hide the header, which would be something up there. I could hide the menu, I could only show the filter, and so on and so forth. And then you make a bookmark. So you add the bookmark, and this remembers the current state, including also the filter selections. So for the filters in my bookmarks, I made sure for the filter, if I click on the filter, I do not want, like currently, there's no filter applied. If I now make a screenshot, or not a screenshot, I set the bookmark for this section, it would also remember all the selections, that there's no year selected, no category selected. And if I save this bookmark, it would mean the next time I activate the bookmark, if I maybe have had a selection of a certain year, activating the bookmark would then revoke my selection of the year and jump back to a selection of all the years. To avoid this, we have to be sure that for this filter selection, start filter, the data section is not, the tick mark in the data section is not marked. For this, we guarantee that the bookmark has not stored the states of the current filters. This is very important if you start the journey on bookmarks here. But the display, like what is currently shown, what is hidden, what is not hidden, I want to activate the bookmark. And of course, the current page, this is all about the start page. I do not want to have the filter showing up on the product page or whatever. Any questions? Then please let me know. So a lot of interactivity is done here with the bookmarks. So there are your friends here, but as you can see, this can be hard work in some point, because it means you have to maintain all of those bookmarks. So if there's a new page appearing, you also have to make sure to have those 3 bookmarks added. And of course, the navigation we're having here, I think I disabled the header here. So the page navigation also has to change, because if there's a new thing, I have to change all my filter panel, not filter panels, all my menu panels to add a new item here. And this one is a different one physically from the one I have on the product page. On the product page, this is a totally independent menu item here. So we have to copy paste things over and make sure to squeeze and activate and update all your bookmarks here. So what else have I implemented here? The filter panel we have just seen, this is just slicers, and those slicers are synchronized. So if I change something here, of course, I want to make sure that this filter also changes for the other ones. So my sync slicers, so we can see that the slicer year and month is not only available on the start page, but it's also on the filter page and product page and territory and so on and so forth. So if I change something here in the selection, I want to select only for year 2012, for example. I want to make sure if I jump over to the product page and take a look on my filter here. So go away. I don't need the bookmark here. So bookmark, go away, please. Can't you go away? Let's have the selections here. And I remove the menu. I don't want to see the menu. I want to activate the filter thing here. Then I should also see that the year 2012 is selected, and this bookmark did not override my selection. And if I change it back here to 2011 and remove the 2012, you can see that the same thing happened over in this filter, because they are communicating. This means that they are synced with each other. So the slicer are synced over different pages. And the easiest way to sync things is to just create it on one page and then copy and paste it over to another page, because if you do that, it will automatically ask you, do you want to sync the slicer? So if I create something new, for example, here, a new page, and then I take my slicer from here, just take this, we can take the whole list here, the whole thing. If I copy this, jump over here, and it contains slicers, then it should ask me, this didn't contain the slices, sorry, only the frame around it. But for this one, if I select this one, copy and go over to the next, to my new page, paste it here, it will automatically ask, do you want to sync this? And I would say in 99% of the cases, I do want to sync things because people expect if they change one filter on one of the report pages, that also the filters on the other pages are the same. If they jump over to the next page, they also want to see the same year they just pre-selected in one of the pages. So this is the usual behavior is, yes, I want to sync it. And then we see now on page 2, this is also synced. If I later discover I don't want to have it to sync, we can just avoid the syncing. So if I now change it here on this new page, 2010, it is not synced anymore. That means if I jump back to the first page, here it's still on 2012. No, it's on 2011. Why? Still on 2011. That's right. Here I changed it to 2010 because now it's independent. It's not synced with each other anymore. So we have full control over the sync slices section here. So the next thing I want to demonstrate is when we took a look on the product page, for example, and maybe let's get rid of those selections, show the bookmarks, and I want to see the products just as they are. We have also an action here, so control click to follow link, because again, there's just a frame around it, and this frame is just a silly button in the sense of there's no shape, there's no text, there's no rotation. It's just a frame, just overlap because we want to still see the background thing. But if somebody clicks on the background thing, I want to have an action, and that's not possible for a visual. I cannot have an action, but I can have this empty frame, empty button with an action, and that's what we see here. And then again, it's a bookmark, and it's jumping over to the measure bikes totals, because it's the bikes, it's the total. I made a bookmark showing, coming over to the measure page and pre-select the measure to the total and here to the bikes. So if you see a measure, there's something, where is the bookmarks? Here, measure bookmarks total. This is this one. If I activate this one, it's changing everything to the total and the bikes. So I would have to also create this for all the other combinations. I was lazy here. As you can see, I only created this for one. So if I want this to happen also for the others, all the other visualizations here, then you would have to create separated bookmarks and then link them from this bookmark. So that's the measure thing. On the measure thing itself, if I move the mouse cursor here, we see this tooltip or quick info. In German, it's called quick info, which sounds more English than German, I would say. So this tooltip, by default, a tooltip looks like, let me see, we can activate this here. So don't want to change this order, just the category. So if I have the options in here, still struggling sometimes with the new visualization formatting options here. There is this, no, it's on the general, and there's this tooltip. And on the tooltip, by default, it would be the default one, which is when I move the mouse cursor there, it's just a dark gray thing repeating what I already see here. So I already see I'm on subcategory mountain bikes, and the current measure contains 25 million. By changing this to something else, for example, a report page, I can refer to another report page. I can have this auto selection, then it's up to Power BI to select one of those, or I can create my own tooltip pages for this. And this is what happened here. So now we see this white frame, and there's also a visualization out there, so I have freedom of building my full reports. And this is done with those tooltip pages. So there's this TT category, for example, and this is exactly what you just have seen. It's showing me the main category. It shows the sales amount, it shows the margin, and it shows this as a bar chart. If I want to change anything here or add things here, so for example, we could like make this a little bit smaller. So we could increase or add something in here, the margin in percentage, make this as small as possible, move this down. Then I could add, for example, another thing here. Can I? Copy paste, yes. And then we could add, for example, having another measure, like for example, what do we want to see? The total product cost, maybe. So we take the total product cost instead of the sales amount. So with the total product cost now here, jump back to my product page. You see immediately, not the product page, but the measure page. We immediately see the effect of this because it's just showing what the other report is. Very important for the tooltip page. If you want to create a tooltip page, you have to do 3 steps. So Power BI Desktop makes things really easy, but sometimes, yeah, you have to have several steps. In the case of this tooltip page, that's the case. So to create a tooltip page, let's create another tooltip page. We have to do 3 things technically. So first thing is on this page, on the no, that's okay. Yeah, on the options here for the page information, that's the first thing. We have to change it to allow this as a tooltip. So you have to turn this on. That's the first step. The second step is that the size of this page, let me see the canvas settings. This should not be full screen, because if the tooltip is full screen, it will overlap everything, or you would only see a small section of the tooltip. So usually the tooltip is much smaller than a usual report. You can either choose tooltip, then it will go down to a height and width of, as you can see, 240 times 320 pixels, or you could just change it to whatever you want, custom. Just make sure it's smaller than the original thing. And then, so that's the second step. So first, activate tooltip. Second, make it smaller. Third is to have this drag tooltip filters here. That means if I drag something in here, Power BI knows, there's a tooltip available for this field or for this measure. And then it's automatically offering it as a tooltip for the pages which only have a default page. So that means if I make, for example, let me think what we're doing here. Make another category, because we've talked about category so much. So I move the category in here. That means now for the category, there's also a tooltip available, another one called page 3 currently. So let's jump back to our measure page. And for this visual, remember, you can turn on and off those tooltips in here, the general tooltips, report page, auto. And now we have this page 3 also available. I mean, page 3 is a really silly name. So next, technically, we are done. Indeed, we are not done, because of course this should be a better name. First thing, and then even if I use this now, if you use this as a tooltip, the tooltip is rather boring. It's just a white rectangle. Why is it white rectangle? Because our page 3 does not contain anything, just an empty thing. So 3 steps: allow the tooltip, make it smaller, move something into the add tooltip field here, and then you'll start creating your tooltip. So for example, we could have, again, the category in here, make this a card visual, and then we avoid this first category. I don't want the category labels in here, just want to see what's the name. And then we can pass in different things like measures. So we can have, for example, the margin as a measure. Again, make this a small card. We could have the margin. We could have something else, like, again, the sales amount, or the product cost sales amount. Let's move this here. And now we have our tooltip here. Remember, now we have like huge numbers here, 80 million, because there's no filter applied here. But that's not really important on this page, because the filters are automatically set from the page where we started from. So on the measure page, if you now move my mouse cursor here, we see exactly what we just did. Bikes. It's not talking about accessories. Now takes the pre-selection from the current visual, which is category should be bikes, and you see the margin and the sales amount from bikes in the current filter. It's not the 67 million, because the 67 million are the product costs, right? But in my tooltip, I show the sales amount. This is 66 million. So this is how you can build a tooltip. A similar thing that the tooltip, there's still no questions. If there are questions, please come forward with them. A similar thing to the tooltip would be a detailed page. So I could right click here and then ask for a drill through. And then I'm jumping over to the product details. What's that? The product details are similar. It's another report, right? It's showing something, hopefully for the product details. But again, this is just, you see here, this is just a report page. And I can navigate to this report page and take over filters. So it automatically took over from the bikes. If I'm jumping back and, for example, where was the measure? On this measure page, if we change the filters, control click here. Also have to remind myself, I want to ignore all those filters. So please, show me everything. Then I see accessories, clothing, and so on and so forth. And I can also jump from the accessories through product details, and now it show me everything about my accessories in this page because it's taking over these filters from the other report. How do you build a page like this? This is even easier than the tooltip. You create a new page, and this new page, you just have to say, this is a drill through page. Let's stick here. So down there, but we previously had this add tooltip thing here. If it's not a tooltip page, it allows you to add the drill through fields here. So again, let's take the category to have the similar things. Not jump too much around in my data model here. So category, and again, the tooltip, not the tooltip, the drill through page is now available. Still a silly name, still empty. It automatically added this jump back button here. So if I go to my measures again, measure, now I see the categories here, and I right click here. I now have not only my product details, but also the silly name of page 4 because it's just a page. And then I jump over to page 4. Of course, it's empty because we did not prepare anything here. But I hope you get this idea. So there's two different things where you can forward people to more details, which helps in the one thing to make your reports more aggregated. So don't show everything on one single page. Only show the most important things, and then people can either have expanded columns, they could have the tooltip, and or they can have this detail page by right clicking there. So it's up to the user what they expected on details, and it's up to the user what kind of feature and how they find it. Is it better for them if they move the mouse cursor there and see the details? Maybe the tooltip is just too small, you need more details. Then you have to explain to them that they right click here, and then they can jump over through to get more details to jump over to a more detailed report. So this is possible here to get more interactivity. Last but not least, let's talk about the scenario here. So the scenario, this is just a slicer as you have also, like as we have also in the filter. Like in the filter, this is only a slicer. This is what it's called, right? This is a slicer, and in the slicer, we only can select, for example, a field here. And we can see this is a slicer. In the case of this elasticity, this is also a slicer. It's just a slicer, different type of slicer because it allows me to type something in or select something, but it could also be like a drop-down list or a list. And then I see all the available elasticities, which is silly in this case, but technically it's the same thing you most probably even already know. If you worked with Power BI, I think you can, you know what a slicer is. So that's the point here. And the same is true for the discount. Let's keep it to the discount is also a slicer. How did I create this? You could create this manually, making a slicer, but on what? So what we need also is that we have a table containing values. So if you take a look on my model, we see there's a table called discount, and this discount has two entries, one column discount and one measure discount value. And if you take a look on that, the discount value, discount table, has this column value containing 0 to 99%. So what you need is a table containing all those values, a measure showing the selected value, which you can refer in our DAX measure, and a slicer. And instead of generating those three streams manually, for example, this was created with the generate series. So it tells, please start with 0, go to 1, and go in 1.1 steps. If I really want the 100%, for some reason, I also have to add the 101 here. Then we also get the 100% here. So this is excluded. The maximum is excluded in sometimes. But I did not create it in 3 steps. I just created it in 1 step. So what we can do is under insert, you will find the what if parameter. Where is it? No, modeling. New parameter, what if? This new parameter is totally different from the Power Query parameters. So this only share the same name, but the meaning, the technical thing behind it is totally different. So if you ever heard about Power Query parameters, this is a different concept than this here. So if I create a new parameter here, I just let it with the standard name parameter. We make it a decimal number, and that should be from 0 to like 2.1. So it gets now from 0 to 1 in increments of 0.1 again, and the default should be 2.5. Should be 0.10, so 10%. And then I can ask to add a slicer on this page. So now it will create exactly those three things. It will create first a table containing a table count parameter named with one column named parameter, as we will see in a second. So parameter, we have this table here. It created this one column parameter. It created this slicer upon this parameter, and it created a measure showing just the selected value of this parameter table. And if nothing is selected or more than one is selected, then 0.1, the default value, is returned. That's the default value. So we can see also this here in the parameter table. So there's the discount, and then we have this parameter table now going from 0 in increments of 0.1 up to 2. So easy as that. And then we can use this in measures. So for the new unit price, for example, so down there, I use the measure new unit price, which is in a measure new unit price. And if you take a look here, the new unit price, where is it? Apparently this is hidden. So if you hidden, then there's this new unit price. And this is a measure which takes new unit price average. Yeah, here we go. So make this bigger. The unit price, which is the existing unit price before I applied this new price. And then I multiply this with 1 minus the discount value. If the discount value is 10% or 20% in this case, it means 0.2. So I'm multiplying the existing price, the pre-existing price, by 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8 times 0.8, which is 20% less than previously. So as easy as that. With the no new order quantity, it's a little bit more complicated because the quantity is not only influenced by the discount, but also by the elasticity. Depending on how people react to price changes, the quantity might not change at all or change much more or less. So this is a more complicated formula. So I'm not just multiplying the order quantity times 1 plus something. 1 plus means now we increase. If we lower the prices, we expect that the quantity increases. That's why it's 1 plus and not 1 minus. But it's not directly the discount value, but it's a discount value multiplied by the elasticity. So if the discount value is 20 and the elasticity is 2, it means that the quantity increases by 40%. Does it? Because 2 times 0.2 is 0.5. 1 plus 0.5 is 1.5, and this means we increase the order quantity by 40%. The sales amount then, this new sales amount, is then easy again. The sales amount, here's the new sales amount. The new sales amount takes the new order quantity, that's what we just calculated here, and multiplies by the new unit price. So this 300 times 300 is this 90, as we can see here. And then I calculate a difference, so the sales amount delta, I think it's this one. I just take this new sales amount and subtract the old sales amount so we don't have to like guess how much difference it is or calculate this in our minds, but really show this. It's so important, right? To have reports which exactly show what we're going to need, and not having people to like export to Excel to calculate those things. A good report should already show everything we need here. No questions so far. Very good. 7 minutes to go, approximately. So the other thing is then this best discount. Again, I could move the mouse cursor around to, let's remove this parameter. We don't need it anymore here. I could move the mouse cursor around to find where's the speed spot there. Is it like a 25%, 24%, whatever? Then we see like here, we see like a 24%. The delta currently is 10,040,000, but the maximum could be this 56. So I'm not at the maximum. So I now have to move the mouse cursor like to the left or to the right to find if I'm overachieving or underachieving the discount. So instead of that, we can of course like draw a line here and show the actual number. So that's what I did here in this line chart. This is a simple line chart, and this line chart is just showing the discount, like 0 to 100%. It shows the delta, and it shows the delta max. So 2 lines. And for the delta max, I also have this maximum line. Do I? No. No, I'm not showing what I'm showing here. Let me see. Usually I have this max line, but in this case I didn't. Really, did I change this to add this maximum line here to make it easy to show? Yeah, that and here under where is it? Again, the new formatting pane here. So I have to turn this on, and under all series, I can select the maximum, and for the maximum, I can then say I wanna show this, right? I think this is how I did it. Did I? So this is, and then I turn it. So still not used to the new one. So for all, I'm turning it off. But for this one, I turned it on, right? Show data labels on, yes. For the delta, I turned it off. And still, and if I move it to off, it's removed again, but I still keep the 10 million here. So this is the maximum. But how is the maximum calculated? This is again, I'm using DAX for that. So DAX is the secret to many things in Power BI. If you want to bring your level of reports to the next level, then you have to learn DAX. And mostly it's the measures. Stay away from calculated columns as much. Maybe you can use them to do performance tuning, but as a starting point, start with measures. And the max for this is I'm just using the discount amount. So I'm going through my discount table. Remember, the discount table contains all the values from 0, discount here, from 0 to 100%. And this is what I'm iterating over. So as a DAX developer, I'm a developer. I'm writing loops. I'm iterating over things. And max x iterates over this discount amount and then calculates what is the sales amount delta. So the 9 million we see down there. So for a discount of 20%, we have 9 million. For a discount of 19%, we have something else. And this max is iterating over all possible values. So it's calculating 100 different sales amounts delta. And then it's returning the maximum of those. It's not summing up those numbers. It's not going for the average or the smallest one. No. I'm asking for max x. So x is, the last x here is x like iterator. That's what I usually say here. And then max is the maximum number of those different values iterated over. So that's how I get this 10 million. In the best discount is then just a lookup of where is the percentage where the sales amount is exactly the maximum number. So there's a more complicated DAX statement here. The best discount uses variables. Again, not really variables because like I can assign something, but I cannot change it anymore. So it's constants, but it's called variables in DAX. The concept is variables, and then I have to return something. So start with variables. So I define two variables. One variable is this sales amount delta max, which is just this measure we just have seen. So without any context, I'm checking what on the current screen is the maximum I could achieve, which is this 10 million. And then I again iterate over a table. So min x, in this case, I'm iterating over a table and then returning the minimum value of something, not the maximum value of something. Again, I'm iterating the first part is the table I'm iterating over, and it's not directly a table, but it's a filter function. So the filter function returns a whole table. And this whole table is over the whole discount table. So every single value from 0 to 100%, and looking for, do I have something where this sales delta for the specific value is exactly the maximum? So I'm now looking for which line has the maximum there. And if I found this line, maybe I found two lines because maybe there's for a percentage there's two maximums, which is the same maximum for different discounts. This could be possible. And then I'm looking for the discount amount, so the percentage, like 20%, 25%, and I'm returning the smallest one. So I wanna like lower the discount, right? Having a smallest discount as possible and maximum my sales amount. And this is what I get here from this best discount. So I'm iterating again over those values. With that said, I see that hi Karin, bin ich da richtig? Hi Stefan. Of course, you're always right here. This is the session about the data application. I will be finishing right now. I will jump over to the Q&A session. We'll be there for 10 minutes and looking forward to your questions. And also Mike ask here, nein, hier ist der öffentliche Bereich der Stage. Ich schicke dir nochmal einen Link zum Backstage-Bereich. Okay. So Stefan is the next one, obviously. So enjoy the break. visit me in the Q&A session and enjoy a rest of the day with funny and exciting sessions here, especially with Stefan, who is the next one on stage 4. Thank you very much. See you in the Q&A session.